introduce? How to introduce?
All right. Well, welcome to our podcast. This is episode number 2 of the Finesse Cast, or the Broad Apple Silk podcast, as we learned from Jimmy's preference of the name. Today we've got myself, Doug Keim, Jimmy Bregenzer, and special guest Emma Driver.
Howdy.
So
all the way from Lookout Mountain.
Yeah, Driver from Chattanooga, Chattown.
No, I'm from Lookout Mountain. Let's not be mistaken.
And Driver goes to GCSU, just like the rest of us. Go Bobs. And you're a psych major.
I am. And a history minor as of recently.
Yeah. What class are you taking for your minor?
Well, right now I'm in a World Civ class, but anyone could take that. And then next semester I'm having the same professor I have now for a Colonial Latin America class. We'll see how that goes. Okay. And then I also have to take a class called Introduction to Historical Research and Writing, which sounds about as, interesting as a class like that can sound.
Makes sense. Okay.
When I picture it, I just picture the color of that class being like the color beige.
Beige.
Just like just really basic and really not exciting. Yeah. Not ugly, not terrible, just like
I gotcha.
Very bland.
Well, unlike the color beige, Driver is hugely into sports, loves all types of sports.
All of the sports, all the colors and all the teams and all the sportsmen.
Who's your favorite team?
My favorite...
Just in general.
My favorite sports team would have to be the Chicago Bears. Obviously.
Why?
Because baseball is America's sport.
First of all.
And Chicago is America's city, and the bear is America's national animal.
All right, so you're saying the Chicago
Bears.
Jimmy, what's wrong with that statement?
I'm not sure if they exist.
As a baseball team, they don't. That's an NFL team. The Chicago Bears.
Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, there you go.
Baby Bears. I knew that. As you can see, I'm very well versed in sports and all things related to sports.
Yeah, it's been a long week. We're finishing up finals. This is Thursday at 10, and I think combined, our whole campus is probably averaged around for everyone that's not done, because y'all are done.
Yes, we are.
Probably averaged about 4 hours of sleep a night, I'd say.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah.
I need a minimum of 9.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I literally
go to bed at 2.
I don't know how you do that, Doug. I'll be groggy the next day if I get less than 9.
Really? You put me on less than 8 hours of sleep. Yeah. Really 9 is ideal, but less than 8, it's gonna be a bad day. It's gonna be a real bad day.
I don't know. If I get too much sleep, that's when I start to feel groggy, honestly.
Well, yeah. If you get in the neighborhood of 11, 12 hours, that just does not do me any
good. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't get that.
Have to take that up with Avery Campagna.
Yeah, I think the only time I've slept that long was when I had pneumonia for the first time. All right, so Jimmy, we don't really have much to talk about.
Please read this
So Jimmy decided to look up some recent news, and ABC News has a headline.
Yeah, this happened April 23rd of this year. Says Texas man sentenced...
No. Please read the first words.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, so they've called this the fajita heist. And Texas man sentenced to 50 years for stealing $1.2 million worth of food.
First of all, what does $1.2 million worth of food look like?
Seriously.
Is it a medium quantity of super high quality food, or a massive
amount of fajitas? That's so much food.
He stole $8 million.
Yeah, does it explain why they call it the fajita heist?
He just says he stole them and then started selling them for his own profit. stealing
fajitas.
Stealing these shells and then marking them up oh my god.
Why would someone see, what would be appealing about buying stolen tortilla shells?
There's now a black market for Mexican food.
Yeah.
For fajita ingredients.
I wonder how he sold that. Was he just on the corner of just
back of the van?
Yeah.
Yeah, just someone's no one sells fajitas in a van. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he says it was selfish. It started small and got bigger and got out of control. And he says it got to the point where I couldn't control it anymore. He's become become addicted to just marking up the
The
prices on
thrill of
That's so
stolen
funny.
fajitas.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That's something. And he's serving 50 years for that.
50 years.
Because they consider it embezzling, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
You know, maybe if he'll good behavior, get out on parole or whatever.
That's so funny though.
Like, hey, what are you in for? Stole some fajitas.
Check ABC.
Check ABC.
That's
You heard of the fajita heist? I'm the mastermind behind that.
Yeah, if you had to steal $1.2 million worth of any type of food, what would it be and why?
Chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
But not like, $1.2 million worth of Hershey's chocolate.
Yeah.
I would find First of all, stealing is wrong. I do not condone stealing. But, in a world where I do condone stealing and preparing to steal this, I would find the finest dark chocolate I could find, and I would steal it. And then I would definitely eat it all.
That's a solid choice, though.
I'm not a fan of dark chocolate though. It's too bitter compared to just like milk chocolate,
Milk chocolate's
It's an acquired taste,
I'm like,
maybe.
I don't know. I like sweet things, but milk chocolate for some reason just tastes really artificial to me.
Yeah. No, I
And
know
like
what
dark chocolate just.
Yeah, well, like M&M's, that's like my favorite kind of chocolate. I love M&M's. Like just like original M&M's for some reason, my favorite candy. I don't know
Really?
why. Yeah.
What's your favorite candy, Jimmy?
I don't know. That's a pretty good question. My goodness.
I mean, you had what?
You got a top 5 list?
You had like a 2-pound bag of M&M's earlier this year.
Yeah,
right?
I do like M&M's.
You
I
would
like
do that every
Raisinets. I like Raisinets. Yeah,
Raisinets?
they're good.
It's a
I
solid
think,
choice. A
is
good
that a-
movie.
is that a
Yeah,
movie
that's what I was
candy.
gonna say.
Is that
Yeah,
a candy?
Raisins
yeah, I would
covered
call
in
them
chocolate.
Raisinets. Yeah,
That doesn't seem like one though. Like, come
that
on.
is a candy. It comes in a little candy box.
Little candy box.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like
It's very classic movie candy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever willingly
And it's like
bought Raisinets though.
yeah. Well, I mean, it is a vegetable, or or it's a you get your.
I'm
fruit.
getting my vegetable for the day by eating
No,
Raisinets.
I mean,
technically speaking,
Jimmy, this is important.
Yeah.
What is a raisin?
Please
it
tell
is a
us.
dried grape, which does have seeds. Therefore, ergo, it is a fruit.
Wait.
Yeah,
Ergo.
all things have all things that have seeds.
All things have fruit.
Yeah,
All things that have seeds are
Yeah.
fruit.
just like a banana, I believe is technically a fruit, isn't it? Because there's like little banana seeds inside the banana.
I really don't know if you know what you're talking about.
No, like, I'll
But
look
I
it up.
can't contradict you because I
Banana
have
fruit.
no idea. I know tomatoes are fruits.
Bananas
That's
are
a whole.
a fruit. Like
Yeah, they're a fruit.
Yeah, I like how you say technically as if most people are like, this is a vegetable. And you're like, technically it's a
yeah.
fruit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm putting into Google banana is a fruit? Question mark.
Are you kidding me? No, put in banana is a vegetable. Just see
I
what
put
it
in
says.
banana is fruit. That's what I'm putting in there.
All right.
Can you get pregnant?
I actually watched that video the other day.
We watched it in one of my classes, and it was weirdly
I feel like
really
that's awkward,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
Because you think it'll be funny, but then you realize the kinds of questions they're asking and just the sad nature of the questions. You're like, oh.
Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable.
I don't
Well,
like sharing this with these random.
Yeah, that's one of the things you
classmates.
just gotta watch either by yourself or with like one other person,
Yeah, one
And
person
not
who
with-
just really knows you.
not with a professor.
Yeah,
It's
at
just
the end of
weird.
it, he just kind of was like, I really hope none of those people were pregnant. And we were like, they probably were, tragically.
Yeah, I wonder how you get into that situation as a person. You just like,
Pregnancy?
no, just like
'Cause
you,
we-
you
I don't know if we
resort,
have-
no, like you resort to Yahoo Answers to find out if you're
I
pregnant.
know.
There's somebody who asked, are pineapples berries?
Now that's no berries. Here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. Some berries aren't technically berries. Like I've heard strawberries aren't actually berries.
Why
Yeah.
is that?
There's a whole fruit, debate
This is so
going on.
funny, like,
Are pineapples berries?
just those two words together is just really funny. I don't know why.
At least I feel like the question you would want to ask is, are pineapples apples?
I mean,
But
yeah.
they just jump straight to
Yeah.
are
Or are they
pineapples
like
berries?
pine trees? Is that where they
Are
grow?
pineapples pine trees.
Yeah, I feel like that makes more sense. Any more updates, Jimmy?
There's a lot of odd questions people ask, that's for sure. Can bananas reproduce on their own? Question mark. What do pineapples do for you sexually?
No.
Are you?
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
What kind of fruit is a grape?
Or vegetable? We don't want to discriminate.
Yeah.
We're still not totally sure on that. It's green, so therefore it could be a vegetable.
Can you grow a banana tree from a banana? That is a good question, though.
What do you mean?
Because, well, you can grow a tree from like a piece of the tree. Like, because they used to give us
telling me
they would go to
just go outside and put a stick in the ground.
Yeah. Well,
That's alive.
it can't just be a stick. It has to be like a
seed.
a piece from a living tree. Like when we were kids in elementary school on Earth Day, they would go out to the pine trees and cut off clippings of like the pine stalks.
Yeah, because there's like seeds in
Yeah, and then you could plant that.
Yeah, it's not just like
Did anything grow?
Well, I
just,
planted
like-
mine, and then my parents like swapped it out with a massive Christmas tree and told me it grew, and I believed it.
Wait,
yeah.
really? That's brilliant.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
But,
we
I
should
don't
do that
think-
again. Maybe
could try.
you'll believe it again.
But see, technically, you could start planting trees everywhere maliciously, like in the middle
Oh
of roads
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like
I
that.
did think about
But
that.
see, the thing is, if you plant it in the middle of a road, it wouldn't actually be able to grow because it'd just get run over / asphalt. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean, you
don't
could
know.
ignore the tree in the road.
You could hide seeds of massive trees under people's houses and around people's houses, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
that could be.
Well, around them, yeah. I don't know if you could just get under their house and just plant a
just
tree.
10 years
I
later,
will
oh
plant
my
this
gosh,
oak tree.
like-
just wake up and there's an oak tree. Just happens overnight.
Just like the Christmas tree.
Just like
It's
the
just
Christmas
there.
tree. That's how the first Christmas tree came to be. A piece of a star fell from the sky, and one day people woke up and there was a Christmas tree. That's why we put lights on them
Oh yeah.
to commemorate.
Oh, is like why do we put the like star on the tree?
Have you seen Santa Claus is coming to town?
Yeah, that's not like
It's obviously very historically accurate, and the reason they did that is because they got married in a forest, so they decorated for their wedding. Which
So
kind
they
of
put
overshadows the purpose of Christmas, which you know is Jesus. But oh, that could be why, because of the star,
because of like
the star in the
North
sky that the
Star.
wise men
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah, but like why on the tree? I don't understand.
I don't
Like
really
why
know
not
how
just
the
put it
tree
in the
became
house?
incorporated as a part of Christmas. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't know.
couldn't tell you.
Jamie, do you know?
I was about to look it up, actually.
Wow, this is a
Jimmy's
very
fact-checking.
research-oriented podcast. We answer important questions, like are grapes vegetables,
Yeah,
and why do we put stars on Christmas
We
trees?
discuss the hot topics.
Amen. Fiesta heists,
Well,
things
so
of that nature.
you being a psych major,
I don't like where this is going.
what are some of the most interesting like cases you've read about?
Cases?
I don't know. Like I'm sure you've read some things that like or professors have
well,
brought up.
There are these really the most recent thing I can think of is there are these really interesting brain disorders that are very, very rare, and they really only occur in people who have strokes, and they affect the parts of your brain like your Wernicke's area, and then the other one like your broncha something. They're both
Okay.
language centers, and so the way these two conditions work is they're kind of like reverses of each other. So one, I can't remember, it's like Wernicke's disorder and then Bronca's disorder, and I can't remember which is which, but in one of them, you can like speak a steady stream of speech, but like none of it makes any sense whatsoever. So you'd be like, Doug, how is finals week going? And you'd sit there and be like, oh, racquetball, wall, whiteboard, finals, tests. Like you would just start saying, and like and it might actually kind of relate to what the person's saying, but for the most part, it doesn't make any sense.
It's just like they leave out like chunks of sentences.
Essentially, yeah. Like, essentially, there's a disconnect. Like, they might be thinking coherently, like, yes, finals week is this, but because the part of your brain that actually, like, forms
or,
the
like,
connections of
processes
words to thoughts, like, it doesn't work, so you're just saying, but, like, you speak, like, you literally could speak just a coherent sentence in the sense that you don't, like, take any, like, you just speak a sentence, but it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And so the other one, which is, like, the reverse of it, is that you can, like, you can answer the question and you can, like, speak, like, you can answer it in such a way that you know what the person's talking about, but you can't remember, like, filler words, or, like, words are missing.
Wow.
So I might be like, how's finals week? And you'd be like, finals, test. Like, you have a lot of trouble, like, actually speaking.
It's almost like it's like a foreign language in that sense. It's like you have to almost, like, translate it to yourself.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I don't necessarily know what's happening, like, in the person's brains in terms of, like, comprehension, but for one, you can't necessarily, like, communicate effectively, but you're, like, you know what the person's saying, and you can sort of communicate in a way that the person is like, yeah, they're trying to say this, but the other one is, like, you say something and it doesn't really make any sense. It's, like, hard to explain, but if you watch, like, videos of people trying to answer questions, it's, like,
That's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
Wasn't there like some famous story of a guy who like was putting railroad ties in the ground or something, and he had some accident, and I forget the guy's name, but it's a famous thing, and somehow this like spike.
Oh
went
yeah,
through
I know
his-
exactly
And he
what you're
didn't
talking about.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I-
like weeks later, he had like all these weird changes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think what happened
What was that guy's
was.
I've heard of that. I
They-
couldn't tell you.
So I think what happened was there was like some kind of accidental explosion and a rod.
Yeah,
I think
just
it
like
was.
straight
Yeah, I
through
don't
his
think it was
head.
a railroad spike, but so yeah, some kind of rod just went straight through his eye and took out part of his brain. That sounded
I had
so
water in my mouth
weird.
and just like.
That sounded so weird. But,
Oh, Phineas Gage.
Phineas
That was
Gage.
the
That's how.
guy's
Yeah,
Phineas Gage.
I recognize that name. So yeah,
Railroad
it just like went
construction
straight
foreman.
through his.
A large iron rod was driven completely through the head.
And then like his moods and like emotions totally changed.
Yeah,
Right?
I think
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that because in one class when we were talking about what the different areas of your brain do, that case actually led to a lot of like understanding about a certain area of your brain because it's like they said, oh, this area of his brain is like very badly damaged and these are the symptoms we see, which means these things happen or like some of these like certain functions happen in that part of the brain.
Okay.
So like if his speech was really messed up, I don't know if it was, and they could see that like, oh, this center deals with like speech, and so by destroying it, it messes up his speech. So I think, I mean, it was
Yeah,
very
that'd be-
sad, but I think
that'd be
it like,
weird.
look at that, that's
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean that went like right
Looking at a
through.
picture, it's,
Yeah, I don't know how you survive that or how they recovered him. Like,
yeah, how did they get
what do
this
you
out
do?
of his head?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're not dead, so guess
well,
we'll
I'm
just
sure
pull
he
it
was
out.
like, I'm sure he was like unconscious, and they
Yeah.
checked him and was like, oh, he's still alive. And then once they got
How do
it
you
out,
just,
they were
like,
like,
go from
okay,
there?
I guess he's good. Like,
I'm like, okay, buddy, get some rest, heal up this
Gosh.
hole in your head.
I'm trying to think. I feel like he kept working or something. He was like
Really?
crazy. Yeah, I
He was
forget.
crazy.
I think.
Well.
Yeah, we learned about it in high school, and it was like
Were you an AP Psych?
I was, in
Nice,
fact.
nice.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
quality class. Really good.
I'm a big fan of being a psych major.
I-
It's
yeah.
so interesting.
yeah, I would have done it, but, you know, mass communications came calling.
Just called
so.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really interesting, but not in this sense. Anyways, I've come to realize that a lot of the major is focused on like research and learning how to conduct research, which I don't really want to do. So I'm kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
great. But learning a lot of the stuff we do learn, like next semester, I'm going to be in developmental psych, and so we're going to
Okay.
learn about like what, like I guess how your brain develops and like what, you know, as you like grow. So like when you're this age, this is what your brain is like doing, and this is like the developments that are happening in certain parts of your brain, and this is what you can and can't do. Oh, I'm
Interesting.
so excited.
So it's like very medical.
I don't
sense.
know if it's medical. Like I don't know. I honestly don't know like
Okay.
what the approach is, but I'm real excited.
Sounds good.
I
Sounds
love
interesting.
learning about our brains. It's so interesting, y'all. It's so cool.
And history.
And history.
Just
Honestly,
love
no, I
history.
love history. Like
Okay.
that's the reason I declared the minors, because when I was, you have to take a lot of upper level electives, as y'all know, liberal arts education for the win. And so when I was picking electives for next semester, I kept just like picking history classes. And so I was like, if I'm going to be taking all these history classes, I bet I could get a minor. And I was right.
Yeah.
Because I, at this point, was like, I was planning to take one upper level history class, and I looked, and since I was going to take that, I would have had more than like half of a history minor. So I was like, let's just keep this rolling.
Yeah, I thought about double minoring like in history because I enjoy it too, and but yeah, I don't know if I'd have the time for it, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That'd be I thought about it too, but I was just like, no. That was really my thought process.
Yeah.
I like my dad was a psych major,
Really?
and you know, he really liked it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think like once, because that's more of sciences, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
very science.
So, like, what
Based.
do you have to take any more math courses? Or, like, what's the highest
No,
math you
not-
have to take?
I'm done with math. So
Okay.
like essentially the only like math courses we have had to take is taking like a statistics, like
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of research, because it's very much like research oriented. So you just have to understand like mathematical processes that relate to like statistical analysis and journal. Well, not you have to put statistical analyses in journal articles. You don't need math.
and
to
that's what
do
you're
that.
SIing, right?
Yeah, I'm SI
Psych
Psych
stat.
Stats. For those who don't know, SI stands for Supplemental Instructor, and it's essentially it's very similar to a tutor. I don't know. Like, it's like a cross between a tutor and a teaching assistant in some ways, but you don't do the, like, grading you don't necessarily, like, aid the professor in, like, grading and stuff. You more aid the professor in, like, helping give outside help to students.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm pretty excited. I get paid for it.
Yeah.
And apparently not that this is a very good thing, but apparently not many people come to the SI sessions for the class I'm SIing for, so a lot of times it'll just be me getting paid to, like, sit in a room and do homework. So,
yeah, that's fair.
not complaining. Or there might be, like, one person who comes every week and I'll just be like, hey.
Which could be nice as well. You know, it's way less stressful.
But I would love for people to come because I think it's important for people to do well in that class if they're going to be psych majors. So I'm going to try. We have a friend who I live with who is also named Emma, and she bakes incredibly. So I'm just going to, utilize her, get her to bake some food, and then try and get people to come to sessions, be like, listen, y'all, my roommate is basically a professional baker, and I have baked goods to offer you. And she loves it, so I'm like, she's happy to do this every week. She has all the time in the world to bake elaborate baked goods for me.
Yeah.
She was very sweet and made a lot of cookies and has been handing them out to people. Shout out. Way to go, Emma Boggs. If you're listening, I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I've always had an interest in the culinary arts, but I don't think I would ever, like, take it very seriously. I think the only one that I could would be, like, breakfast foods, but it's so easy that it's like it's not even worth putting any effort to try to learn anything else outside of it.
I do love breakfast food.
Yeah, I don't know. I've eaten a lot of eggs this semester, like a lot, especially at the beginning. Like I think because I
started eating eggs as well, and then I stopped. Because,
I got you on the egg gang.
You did get me on that, but like there's like cholesterol in eggs, and it can like raise your blood pressure really
just
hard.
know
My ears
that
started ringing.
You had a fish oil pill though.
Over the last like 40 years, the egg has either been like Satan's best accomplice in destroying our health, or it's been like egg is the pinnacle of health.
Yeah.
Like eat an egg and you'll live forever.
Yeah.
So like, who knows?
Yeah.
Just
real.
you keep eating those eggs, and if it's the way you go, then what can you do?
Yeah, I mean that'll be a happy way to go, just with a nice omelet. Yeah.
Or 18 of them.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
What do you like to put in your omelets? Are you like a simple just cheese or even just salt and pepper, or do you like to really?
I'm a complex omelet guy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell
Red
us about
pepper.
that.
Okay.
Oh,
so like Western.
Onion, I guess if you want to call it that. Yeah. Yeah, a little pepper, a little paprika, salt, pepper, cheese sometimes, little bits of ham even if you want to be a little adventurous.
See, I'm pretty sure that's called like a Colorado omelet or something, because
It's-
there's a
Western
really
or
good
Colorado,
breakfast place in Chattanooga, and the Colorado omelet is literally like peppers, cheese, onion, ham.
Yeah.
That's about everywhere you go. That's basically like a traditional Western omelet. I'm pretty sure. But I don't know.
Breakfast
You think
food.
like eggs are really in everything, and it's kind of scary to think about. Like,
Eggs actually run the world.
I was like, wait.
Who runs the world? Eggs.
There's more chickens. Chickens outnumber us on this earth. I think it's like 3 to
Jimmy,
1.
a lot of things outnumber us on
That
this
is
earth.
true.
Ants.
Have
you heard about the fact that ants like outnumber us like a lot to one? If the ants got smart enough to band together, they could take us down. I don't think they will because they're ants, but still.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, that's crazy. Like if you watch on like Planet Earth or something like that, ants ganging up together, like they can take down. I mean, and they all communicate, talking about language and stuff. They all somehow
talking about humans
know.
communicating.
I don't know what kind of language they speak, or if it's some type of weird English or something. But they understand like orders, and they have like the army ants will watch like the smaller ants do duties and stuff, and like they have a whole bureaucracy. And
I guess you could say they're very intellectual.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
But it's scary. You know what else is really smart? Fungus.
Smart cars.
Fungus.
Fungus.
Let me just stick with me. So, This is actually from the Joe Rogan podcast. He had a guest on there.
The what podcast?
Was it a fungus?
Joe Rogan. He's like this. I love him. He's amazing. But he's like this. Shameless.
So
plug
go on.
For Joe
You
Rogan's
basically
podcast.
explained it.
But anyway, like he has like these guests on, and one week he had this guy who was like a mushroom expert.
Is that why you
It's
one time were
myology.
watching a documentary about mushrooms?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was like on this weird kick, like just like what are these things like? Anyway, there's like this weird breed of mushroom that they used in Japan to like I don't know. They set up like these stations where the mushrooms would grow from, and then they had like a maze set up that mimicked like a subway system, and then these mushrooms grew in such a way that would allow them like to communicate with one another super fast, and it turned out that like if we built our subway tracks in the same way that they organized themselves, like it pioneered, like it streamlined Japan's subway system.
So you're saying mushrooms are
Yeah.
basically like the planet
Yeah.
Pandora and
They're the-
Avatar, where everything just talks
It's-
to each
Those are
other.
your eggs.
Yeah, no, the
New
path
eggs.
like that they built to communicate with each other
Yeah,
was
that's
like
pretty cool.
really fast, and then we copied it. It's amazing.
We
Just,
followed
like,
the mushrooms.
Yeah, follow the mushrooms. That is yeah,
Well, thanks, Jimmy.
little tip there.
That'll be the.
You know, I've always said that you're a pretty fun guy.
Oh, knew that was
No.
coming.
You flatter me too much. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
I think that'll be the name of it. It'll just of this episode. It'll just be follow the mushrooms. I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
That'll hook him.
Mm.
Gotta have a hook.
Yeah.
I was trying to see. It looks like our freckle patterns on our arms are kind
We
of
do have
matching.
similar
Oh, I was
freckle
wondering.
patterns.
Crazy. I was just like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
on
this
the
is just a
same
birthmark.
form.
Crazy birthmark.
So you have a
right here.
birthmark. I have a big mole. So we both have like one standout something, and then just a smaller, more
Yeah.
subtle pattern of freckles. It's really
Interesting.
interesting. Wow.
I
What
think
is-
like freckles are like
We
sun
might be
damage,
twins
right?
separated at birth.
Probably, yeah.
Who knows, yeah.
We'll get tested and get back to you
Yeah.
guys next week.
Actually, that's a good. I was thinking of like doing that Ancestry.com thing.
Like the
Yeah.
the 23andMe.
23andMe, yeah.
Just because I'm curious, like to find that out, I think it'd be really cool information to know.
I have an
like-
interesting story about something that might have happened in my lineage, but I don't know why. But like now that we're on the topic of ancestry, so I forget what time period. This must have been like, it's some like whatever Indian war. I don't know what it was, but like
Like the Spanish
It was-
American War?
it's not really. It was like when we were still colonizing the western part of America. And apparently some of my family were pioneers, and so like they would they went out and built a cabin out in somewhere. I don't really know where. It's like 200 years ago or something like that. But they were just, it was like dead of night, and I think it was like 2 kids, a mom and a dad, and their house was set up, or their cabin was set up like, basic cabin, like 1 room, and then, 2 rooms. They were raided by Indians one night, and so the dad got the kids outside the window, and, because the Indians were like, torching their house, and they had to, because they didn't want to go out the front door, their only other way out was the kitchen window, or like little space that they had for a window, and so it was like 2 panels that just opened out, and so they'd go out into the into the woods and just kind of like take off, I guess. But the wife was too fat to get through.
Oh no.
And so after some attempts, the dude just left her in the window and she died.
Golly.
Oh my gosh. This is part of the Kime dynasty.
Apparently, like
Oh.
I think it is. That's what I've
Bye,
heard
have a
from.
nice time.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Oh.
Like I was thinking, like, what? What? Like that's
What
like.
kind of a husband was
Like,
this?
it's sad because she probably burned to death, but like,
Oh.
can you imagine just like she couldn't get out of the window.
Oh my
She's just like, Godspeed, and then just takes off into the woods.
Well, how did the husband get out? Did he climb out first?
Yeah, he climbed out,
And
helped the
then pulled
kids
them
out,
out.
and was trying to help his wife out of the window.
Oh,
Stuck.
gosh.
Oh, part of me is hoping that's not true, but that was from my grandfather told my cousin that, who they've both done like pretty in-depth like ancestry studies, in our family.
I'm just imagining how that got recorded. Like the husband
Oh,
went
I
into the
know.
woods and
Well,
pulled
I'm
out
sure
his
it's-
journal and was
yeah.
like, "Dear diary,
Sorry,
what a
guys.
night it's been."
I hate my life.
Got
yeah.
some bad news to report tonight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but like, I can't imagine being a pioneer in that time. Like, it sounds just awful.
Like when I was a kid, I would read Little House on the Prairie. I was fascinated
Yeah.
by it, but just the thought of actually living that out as a day-to-day
Oh my
reality
gosh.
sounds like just. I have much respect for you pioneers. You know,
Yeah.
shout out to our homies.
But yeah, it's like it felt like anything could kill you. Like it's like broken
They're like,
arm.
you stubbed your toe,
you're basically
you
dead.
could die.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like, what time was the like California Gold Rush? Like, was that 1840s?
That was I want to say it was like the late 1800s.
Okay, gotcha.
I think. I could be very wrong.
Actually, yeah, it would be late because Civil War didn't start.
Yeah.
So-
Civil War didn't
so
end
after-
until 1865.
Yeah. And so like,
In the California
and then
Gold
yeah,
Rush.
because like they were still.
Because I
fighting
think
each
it
other.
even like that kind of was. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think the beginning. Yes, it was. Okay, so I've read. Have y'all ever read East of Eden by John Steinbeck?
I know the book. Yeah.
Okay, so essentially that book takes place mostly in like very like maybe the very very late 1800s, but mainly like the early 1900s, and it's kind of like fresh off the California Gold Rush, and then you see like as these people are aging, like soon automobiles come on the scene. So yeah, the Gold Rush was like end of 1800s, I want to say.
Gotcha.
That book is excellent. 10 out of 10 would recommend. John Steinbeck, that man was a born storyteller. Oh,
What are your top 3 favorite books you've ever read?
see,
Because
This
you
is
read a
difficult.
lot. Like, I don't read ever.
well, since coming to college, I don't really read. Honestly, a lot of the very high quality books I've read are because of high school. Like we read them in AP lit classes, and I just happened to like love them.
Okay.
I don't know. So I'd say there's a lot of books that I read in very different categories. But I'd have to say East of Eden is for sure one of my just all-time favorite books because
Yeah.
it's just such a stunningly told story. It's just so amazing. And then I love the book Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
good. And that actually takes place also near the California Gold Rush, like right in the California Gold Rush. Sensing a pattern here. And then another top book. I don't know. There's so many good ones. I guess I'm thinking more like novels. Oh my gosh, what am I saying? Okay, it would have to be a toss-up, a two-way tie between Pride and Prejudice and Emma by Jane Austen. I knew you were gonna. No. But let me just explain first of all. Before anyone, I don't know if we are going to have a huge listening that's going to be rolling their eyes or something. I do not say Pride and Prejudice because I'm like, ooh, Mr. Darcy is just so sexy. No, I say Pride and Prejudice because one, also that takes place in the late 1700s, not late 1800s.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like 100 years before.
Yeah, no. It's so good because first of all, it's so funny and so witty, and you don't even understand the character development in that book is stunning. Like Jane Austen creates these wonderful complex characters and they change and you get to know them and understand them and you see them grow and oh my gosh, and she like portrays their day-to-day life and it's just like so
Like I get it that it's popular for a reason.
No,
I
it's
can't
no.
stand it.
Oh my gosh. What's the reasoning behind that? It's just boring.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's
Well,
it's boring to me. The thing is like I like even books like The Count of Monte Cristo. I just found
That
boring.
book is long.
It's long, but it's a good story. It's fascinating. It's like basically like it's not really a vigilante. It's like a redemption story almost, but like it's a really good book. It's just like I would say that is the farthest thing from my favorite book though. Granted, my favorite books are like not nearly as deep as Pride and Prejudice. Like one of them is The Martian. I love that book. I really like.
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I made sure
It's a quality film.
Yeah.
Matt Damon? Question mark?
Yeah, I
Doesn't
love
he have
Matt
to grow
Damon.
potatoes on
Yeah, he
Mars or
does.
something?
He does.
I've never seen that.
The book's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, and the movie's done really well. But yeah, then there's House by Ted Decker, and then what's the third? I'm trying to think of books that I've read because it's very slim.
What about The Hungry Tide by
Oh my god!
by
Sorry,
Amitav
that
Ghosh?
Amitav Ghosh. Yeah,
Ghosh.
that was for our GC2Y. It's one of the core classes for our school. And that book was actually
It was
not
a
that
quality
bad.
book. It wasn't
I actually,
bad.
you might actually like that book.
Would I?
You know, honestly, like it actually was pretty interesting.
I actually recently read a book. What am I saying? My new top favorite book. It's called Walking with the Comrades. So yeah.
Is it like The Outsiders?
No, it's about this woman who goes into the jungles of India. Y'all, crazy things be happening in India. Like it just made me realize
no, seriously,
what
that's
a
what the
like we as just Western people just can't even comprehend the unbelievable things that happen to so many people in so many other countries. So like. Anyways, we read about this people group in India who's essentially like they have sort of inhabited, not sort of, they are like native to a lot of like the forest areas. Like they're very much indigenous people to like land in like India, especially like forest areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so these mining companies are trying to come in and take obviously the land because it has valuable like, I forgot what the material is called, but it has they have like valuable deposits of these certain materials that can be made to make like used to make aluminum and other metal things that are very big and in high demand. And so these people have essentially like taken up arms against the government, and they call themselves communists. They like fly under the banner of communism, but I think according to the author, so I'm not just like speaking out of complete ignorance, according to the author, they fly under the banner of communism, but they actually don't understand what that means, and like they don't have a lot of agreement about what even they want from the government. They just want to like keep their land. It's crazy. And she very much was like in favor of it, which I am not, but I also, it's a reality that I do not even have to like deal with. So who knows? It was crazy, but it's made me decide I want to be a communist. All that to say. When my parents saw that I ordered it at the beginning of the semester, they were like, "Did you join like the Communist Student Union or something? Like, why are you buying Walking with the Comrades?" I was like, "Yeah, just exploring some new things." Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
Jimmy,
but
what
like
are your favorite books? What?
I
sorry,
like
go.
Dostoevsky. I don't know if you read a lot.
Wait, did you read what's it called, the Something Brothers?
Brothers Karamazov.
That's
no,
it.
I haven't read that one, but my uncle's read that. But
And the
Crime and
Grand
Punishment.
Inquisitor?
you read
Yeah,
Crime and
Punishment.
Punishment?
Yeah, it's a quality book.
Really?
Um,
I can't follow. You've never heard of it?
I've never read it. I've
Oh,
heard
I
of it.
Yeah, it took me a long time, but yeah.
Did you read it like in your free time?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but it took me, months, because I don't
Mhm.
I wouldn't read in long periods, but
Yeah.
and then he had like a small book that he wrote called like Notes from Underground or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
We read that in high school. I kind of forget what that one's about, but he always I always thought he was a pretty cool author. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you ever read The House of the Dead?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. I had to do a research paper on that in AP Lit. It's a Dostoevsky book, but it's not nearly as well known. I also did it because it was the shortest one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's basically about like, okay, I'm probably gonna get this all wrong, but it's basically, from what I understand, it's like, prison. It like follows prisoners in Siberian prisons, and just how like difficult that is. Kind of going off of your point, like it's brutal in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But yeah, that's like my dad just read a book about these explorers in the Amazon, and just like
What
some
book
of
was it?
oh boy, I can't remember. I don't know what it's called, but like
It's okay.
he was telling me some of the things that like happened to them there, and it's just like everything can kill you.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's like I brushed up against a leaf. Turns out that leaf is full of poison, so you'll die in 2 to 3 hours.
Seriously though, that
that's
is one
crazy.
place I don't think I'll ever want to visit or
The
go there
Amazon?
willingly. Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
huge draw to jungles in general.
I don't either.
It's just like I'd rather
just
go to
watch the
plains.
Jungle Book and call it a day.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
I have a strong draw to the jungles.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
You strike me as a wild man.
I can see it.
Yeah, I think after I get my degree, I'm just gonna go to the Amazon and just run around, like,
Be with the indigenous people.
But I mean, like,
Just run around.
hey, like, I made it, you know? Yeah. But
With
like,
an econ degree. What up?
yeah. But you know, like in the outback, that's my Australian.
That's your
accent.
Australian accent.
Yeah.
That's not impressive.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that can kill you too. Talk
Down
about
in the
like,
outback.
yeah, down in the outback,
They got
mate.
some terrifying
Yeah,
creatures
mate.
down there, mate. Oh my goodness. Jimmy, your Australian accent is
Yeah.
horrifying.
Gosh.
Yeah,
That's something else.
but they got like the. Well, actually, I was gonna say they have Brazilian wandering spiders, but they don't. They're in Brazil, but still,
Oh, they don't.
They will
Okay.
kill you just as much as anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, like spiders freak me out. Oh
Me
my
too,
gosh.
Jimmy.
Really?
Especially ones that can like look at you and recognize you, like, and then they'll
Can
go up on their
spiders do
hind
that?
legs.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't like the sound of that.
That's
You
weird.
get
Yeah.
the broom
Like,
out.
No, that's when you get the blowtorch out. You say, "Nah, son."
have you ever done that to like a wasp's nest or
Gotten a
something?
blowtorch? No, I don't
Oh.
think I've ever handled a blowtorch.
Well, I was power washing our deck one time, and there was like a wasp's nest the size of probably like a softball. So it wasn't huge, but there were a good 20 wasps around it. And I just got axe and a lighter and just went up to it and just
Are you serious?
destroyed it.
Oh
It was
my
so
gosh.
satisfying. And then I ran. I was like,
Yeah, you did.
nope.
Not today.
But I think I got all of them. I can't remember.
I have a crazy story about that. I don't know if I ever told you about it or not, but
Probably not.
yeah, we'll have to see. But like in New Jersey where I grew up, I lived on like this rural kind of farm area actually.
Really?
And yeah, it's like in south central kind of Jersey.
Okay.
Where there's farms and stuff.
Did
anyway,
y'all have land or just kind of like?
no,
a
I mean like it was
house?
kind of like. It's kind of weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like on a farm. It was like a 600-acre farm, but we didn't. I mean, it wasn't like ours. It was
Yeah.
like
I see. Yeah.
the guy who owned it. It was his place, but then he put houses on there as well. So yeah,
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
exactly how.
So it was
but-
kind of like, were you on a main road, I guess?
It was kind of like off of a main road. I mean,
Okay.
it was on a dirt road.
So you had property though.
Yeah. I mean, we ourselves had like an acre or two, I think.
Oh, okay,
but,
gotcha. So there was a good
Yeah.
few houses there.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
But there are these massive trees in the backyard, and I was just a young kid, and had to go pee, and
I've not heard this story.
so I ran outside, or I think I was already out there anyway, and I was like, well, here's a nice oak. I think I'll just pee on this, you know. And it turned out there was like a wasp's nest on the bottom of this tree, like by the stump, and I peed on it. And and I'm not even kidding. I had jeans on, and 3 hornets flew up my pants.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, and stung me all the way up my leg. Not all the way up.
Okay,
thank God,
okay.
but
That's
still way high up on the thigh, like all the way up, bang, 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 like 5 times.
And hornets hurt.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
bad.
And it was just crazy. I ran inside like screaming, and I just yanked
How
my
old were
pants
you?
down, and all these things like there were 3 of them just fly
Oh
out of my
my.
pants. I freaked out. Like
That's
I
terrifying.
think I took like an ice bath or something, but
I think
Oh, yeah,
I would
that was
take
like-
a Valium or something.
yeah,
Seriously.
that was like it was crazy. I mean, you always hear like, oh, as mad as a
Gosh,
wet
dude.
hornet, and then you just imagine that hornet is covered in pee. Like, I mean, that is.
They are pissed.
Yeah, real mad.
Literally.
Get it? Ah.
Hey. See, we're funny.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but that's like the worst encounter I've ever had with a bug. There was a spider in my room the other day. I had to kill it with my shoe.
I don't think I've had any bad experiences
It was a
with bugs.
I haven't had
bad
a lot of
with
bad
the
experiences
spider,
with
too.
bugs. I've had bad experiences with the other part of that story. Yeah.
What?
Just like, peeing my pants a lot.
A lot? What?
I like honestly used to be so ashamed by this, but you know what? At this point, who cares? I peed in, like, I honestly still probably have the capability to pee my pants to this day because I have a very weak bladder and I stay very well hydrated. And if you get me laughing hard enough, then there's no telling what could happen.
gosh.
Or have I told you all about the time I peed my pants at a haunted house out of fear?
I don't know if I've heard that.
Freshman year of high school.
Oh my gosh.
For everyone who's listening, one thing you'll know about me is at this point in my life, I've just stopped caring about the things I do that embarrass me because there's too many to count. And if one could die of embarrassment, I would have died at like 6 years old. So anyways, little me as a freshman in high school and like, you know, wanting to be cool and edgy, my friends say, hey, let's go to this haunted... it's not a haunted corn maze. It's next to a corn maze, but it's outside, so it's not technically a haunted house, but like a haunted forest. Oh, it's called the Forest of Fear. That's right. So they said, let's go to the Forest of Fear. And I said, yeah, I can handle things, obviously. I'm a normal person. So we go, we're standing in line, we're standing next to this creepy corn maze. They got all the creepy lighting, and we're like, yeah, woohoo, high school, like, we're so mature and cool. Yeah. And I say, hey, friends, I should probably go to the bathroom before this just to be safe. And they were like, well, it's really far away, and what if we get through the line before you get back? And I was like, I'm not about to go through this thing by myself. Like, you pay like $15 for this. So I was like, heck no. So I was like, what could happen? I'm, 15 years old. I'm past the age where I have the risk of peeing my pants. Anyway, so we get... Alas, this poor lass was... faced with that. So we get to the front, and first of all, so the theme, I guess that's what it's called, whatever you want to call it, was like human experiments gone wrong. So basically the point was you're supposed to go through what looks like a really creepy rundown laboratory, and then I'll have all these like half-deformed mutant humans come and try and murder you. Yeah. Fun normal stuff, things. Lighthearted things. So we get there. And the people, I feel like there was this woman sitting at a table who, like, somehow checked us in, but we were, like, by the entrance, so I could be wrong. But it's, like, this very normal, like, okay, here are tickets. But then next to her, behind this chain link fence, is this creepy woman in, like, a gown with, like, like the ring kind of woman looking with the hair and the gown and the, So she's all like, I can't be creepy like her, but she basically was like, oh, hello, but in a much creepier way, like, what are your names? And I was with 3 of my friends, and they all turn and look at me and go, her name is Emma. And she was like, Emma. And then she ran away, and I was like, where's she going? And so we start going through this haunted house, and of course, as we're walking, this woman's banging on the fence, being like, Emma, come here, Emma. And I was like, great, I'm already just so enjoying this. And so we start going, and this is like 2 minutes in, this man jumps out from behind us and essentially is trying to move us through this maze. So we scream and start running, and little me just loses her footing and trips and falls. And as I'm falling to the ground, my bladder decides to say, you have to pee more than you've ever had to pee in your entire life. And so I'm laying on the ground contemplating, and I think I have 2 choices here in this moment. One is to let this man who, like, maybe logically in my brain I know can't kill me, but in this moment I know he's going to kill me. Or I can stand up and pee my pants. I was like, if I stand up, I will pee my pants. My friends are all like yelling at me. They're like, get up! And I'm like sitting here, this horrible decision, and I'm like, fine. And so I'm wearing jeans. I get up and I just start running, and I start running and I start peeing too. So this is like 2 minutes in, and this thing's supposed to take like 30 minutes. So we're going through running, and then at this point, because my bladder's just like, who cares? Every scare after that, just like, somehow there was just more to keep coming. And so, first of all, we didn't even get all the way through this haunted house, but I'm at this point, honestly, y'all, I'm covered in my urine.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And so we get through, and my other friend, Maya, sorry, Maya, if you're listening, don't know how you found this podcast, but you're getting called out. So she decided that she had enough. Y'all, there were so many funny things about this. One funny thing, we get to this one room, and we kind of slow down, and you're creeping into each room. I'm so sorry. So we get to this one room that's really dark. And apparently one of the people pushed my friend over, and so she trips and falls over this like chair, and she's screaming. She's like, I broke my leg. And we're like, what? And she's like, I broke my leg. And we were like, well, get up and run on it. Like, we have to get out of here. And so she got up and was like limping. And then we get to the next room, and there's this woman, and she's kind of like peeking around the corner. And my friend Maya goes, I see you. Don't think I don't see you. Don't you dare scare me. And then the woman jumped out, and my friend Maya still was like screamed. And so she finally was like, we're not doing this. She was like, we are leaving this. And so she decides that it's time for us to leave. And I, at this point, was covered in pee. So I was like, that's fine. I gotta go. Like, I'm chafing. This is just all kinds of terrible. I was like, obviously, next time I do anything like this, I'm bringing my, like, adult diaper. I don't even care. So we go and we find this man who essentially just looks like a giant person made of moss. I don't even know what that was supposed to be. And so she's like, it's time, like, she was literally like, hey, we need to leave. And he goes, and, he's trying to stay in character. He's like, there's no getting out of here. And she literally goes, hey, blank hole, and kicks him in the shit. And she goes, let us out of here, you son of a something else. And so he just, like, breaks character and was like, just go that way and you can exit. And so we start walking out. And then just to top off the evening, before this, though, please no. Oh, no. Sorry, not yet.
Yeah.
Just wait. So I thought I dropped my cell phone at one point, and, in the moment, I was like, I don't care. Leave it. Like, I'd rather take my life than save my life than, leave my cell phone. Sorry, no. Save my life. Two very different things. And so I'm thinking, like, I dropped my cell phone. And so we leave, and, of course, just to top everything off, this man with a chainsaw just gives us one final good run out of this forest of fear. So we're sitting on this blanket. My friend Maya is weeping. My other two friends are like, that wasn't so bad. And I'm sitting there covered in urine still. And I'm looking through my pockets, and I'm like, guys, I lost my phone. And literally my friend Maya just like looks at me and was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was like, we have to go back. I was like, I have to go back in there. And so, but then our friend first went to like the front desk area.
Like lost and found.
Yeah, she was like, my friend dropped her phone, and her sister was coming back, and I was like, y'all, this sucks. Like, I can't believe I lost my phone. Without even, like, really thinking, I pull my cell phone out of my pocket and think to myself, I can't believe I have to call my dad and tell him I lost my phone. And then as I'm about to click call dad, I was like,
Wait.
I was like, hey, everybody, I've got good news.
Oh, my gosh.
And then that concluded my evening at the Forest of Fear.
That sounds intense.
It was honestly the most dramatic thing ever. If anyone had been watching it from outside, they probably would have been just like crying, laughing, because it's just these four little like scrawny white girls like, oh my gosh! One of them's on the ground and starts running, and you just see, it was just not my fun. And of course, I never wanted to talk about it ever again, because when you're a freshman in high school, you're like, I just got here and I already just did something so embarrassing. But now, obviously, I'm here talking about it to the web, so I've made great strides since then.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to end your strides, but
it's okay.
We should probably end it pretty soon. We're already at 57 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And so what we did last time was Jimmy played the guitar to exit, but I don't have my guitar. And so do y'all have any ideas of how we should end this musically?
You could play the racquetball racket.
You want to try?
Or the pencil.
Yeah, you could just
I can use the pencil.
No. Just do like this thing. It's like the something like that. I don't know. You got it.
Let me get one of these.
Or you could play the Lasco. You could sing into Lasco.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I don't think I'll hear it.
You'd have to bring Lasco over here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move him over here. We'll move the mic out a little bit. All right, talk into it.
Testing.
It's not doing anything.
Try the back.
It's not doing anything.
Something, Doug, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It doesn't sound
No,
like
I can't hear it.
It doesn't sound like anything.
It doesn't. Yeah, I was just gonna say it doesn't sound like anything.
All
right, well we've got a minute. Before we get to an hour, we've got a minute and.
Well, you can edit
35.
some of this, right?
No.
Great.
This is all staying in.
Great.
It just sounds like you're just scraping like a washboard. provide us with the vocals?
No.
Or just like the backup vocals. Jimmy, you got to rap or something.
Boots and cats.
Yeah, you're the rapper, dude.
I'm the rapper? No, Emma's doing the rapping.
I can rap something from Hamilton. That's probably not what we want. The end.
Alright, yeah, we'll end there.